Oh,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
how you doing? You good?
I'm fine. I'm fine. A pleasant good afternoon to Mr. Hudson George, Master
Mm.
Melvin Coutain, and of course, Ingram Jones, who joins us consistently from England, trying to advocate for that which is true and for a better Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Today, on this very spontaneous program, we will be speaking to Master Melvin Coutain and, of course, Mr. Hudson George. This is in relation to the Olive Branch project, which was started by Master Melvin Coutain and presented as a business proposal to the government of Grenada, where he would have sought the assistance of the government of Grenada to inspire and empower the youth and every Grenadian national who remains in Grenada, even abroad. As we do know, there is need for the Grenadians, our people, to start implementing strategic measures which will actually better the situations that we currently face right here in Grenada. Many of the programs, as I have um, come to the realization after investigating of the Olive Branch project, would be to not only empower our young people and other persons, but also to decrease the criminal elements that we have right here in society. Master Melvin Coutain, a pleasant good afternoon to you. I know that you are um, currently doing aquaponics, a lot of martial arts. You're doing programs as trainers and so forth, trying to make or basically have persons who are independent of the system that we do have right here, where opportunities can be created by persons which will trickle down to even the smallest man in Grenada to make him an independent thinker and an element of change, positive change to Grenada. So we do appreciate you. We thank you for your many efforts. But as many stories would have it, many realities would have it, unfortunately, in Grenada, there is a lot of red tape, a lot of injustices that are being carried out by persons in government, a lot of blockages. And Master Coutain, we are aware that this is not unique to one individual. And as time has progressed, many persons have stated that this type of injustice, this type of blockage, this type of theft of intellectual property and so forth should come to an end. And this is what we are hoping for. And we would like to use this opportunity to sensitize persons who are looking at the shows to be very careful, very cautious when producing your documentation of your business plans to persons in the government. Master Coutain will tell his story, and then we would have Mr. Hudson George, who is no stranger to the cameras, um, to speak. And of course, we have Ingram Jones as well. So, a pleasant good night to each and every one of you who are viewing and who are listening. Master Coutain, how are you, sir?
Eh, Listening the budget and listen the kind of money throwing out for person receiving money for work they didn't do. And I am out of a job and struggling out here. So as I say, if something affect me, I'm going to talk out about it. And when we're talking about theft, and the Minister of Agriculture is talking about theft, what about me? Somebody thief your intellectual property right and your hard work. There's a lot of money I put into this. I even left my job. I had a permanent job at St. George's University. And I put in my time and effort, get other persons involved, and we put together a team and presented it. And instead of the system or the government try to work with you, they use the Parliament of Grenada, they use the church, which is the Grace Lutheran Church, and the National Training Agency, GIDC, the Smart Climate Program, Caribbean Development Bank, cousin of the Prime Minister, which is Brian Campbell, and others, and ex-workers within the Ministry of Agriculture, take my intellectual property right, write up a document, the Ministry of Sports, and create a program called Youth Empowerment. They also create the SIRE program. And I keep on asking, I would like to know how I work in, how I going forward, because they find money for these people. Okay?
So,
Millions of dollars.
Master Coutain, if I may interject just for a brief moment, um, you have stated that you actually left your job,
Yes,
your permanent job where you earned a salary to
close to
actually uh,
$5,000.
put in a program that would benefit the people of Grenada.
Thank you.
Many times we have persons in Grenada believing that we need foreign investors to come to Grenada because there's no person in Grenada who is Grenadian that would actually make a sacrifice to invest their life into and finances into the well-being of the country. So we are now aware that saying that there are no persons in Grenada who would actually step up to the plate, step up to
I know,
what is
yeah.
needed. We are
I know.
now aware that that is not true, and we are thankful for persons like you, Master Coutain. But please, by all means, go ahead and let us know what you have faced as someone who has made such a sacrifice to be a patriot to this great nation.
Okay. Now I could start with Taekwondo. I started around Taekwondo in 94. And we've been trying since then to get the Ministry of Sport to assist us. One guy was coming through by name Master Augustus Mitchell, which is Grenadian. And what we realized with this guy, he only used Grenada as a platform to keep his name outside in the international market. And then it had the next guy, Francis Charles, okay, with Vida Bruno. We went in a meeting, and what they said in the meeting is that they want Grenadians to organize an association and get into the Olympic Association. What they have done, Francie and his wife and others, they put together an association and they brought it to the Olympic Association and they approved it. And the association, what they set up, all the members in the association are families and friends. And that I kick against that. I said, this is not right. I won't be part of something like that. This is illegal. It was accepted and he was given the rights to function. And I've been fighting since then to get that change. The Olympic Association in Grenada and the Pan Am Taekwondo Association was funding and supporting him, where the children in Grenada was suffering. So I was called by the vice president of WTF and a few masters, and they say, watch, you in the art, because I've been around martial arts since 1982. I know some of the top guns, some of the best in this business. I know them, I've been around them. I prefer to be competitively. That is what I like. But in order to get Grenada going, I had also go in the trenches and the mud and figure out exactly what is happening. So basically, one Grenadian called from Canada and he said, boy, I would like to come down and do something for my country. A guy by the name of Donnie Mignon. And I put him on to Francie. That was in 2006. And what happened when I put him on to him, he called me back and he said, watch, this guy not answering, he not getting anyway. Then it had one girl come through again named Andrea St. Bernard. She represent Grenada in the Olympic in 2012. And the same thing she was going through. So I had us, because I was supposed to know how all these things were formalized, how it started. So I went down on the ground and I stand up with these people. And that is how I register the Grenada School of Martial Art and Taekwondo in 2010. I went to GIDC and I did a course in business. I did IT and all these different things. GIDC helped me put together a business plan and some of the ideas. At the time in 2010, I was doing natural medicine with Dr. Donovan Institute of Natural Medicine. And I get a certificate as a consultant, because a martial artist is supposed to know medicine. So this is the direction I was moving. And I also was within the registered company called Healthier Living. And I was looking at seeing how I could get the people to use the raw material we have and turn it into product, juices and drinks for medical purposes and the herbs and different things. Since then, I went to the Bureau of Standard and trying to get help. I went to the chemistry lab, putting together. And the amount of red tape you had to go through and the amount of money I spent doing labels, I have all these labels and things to prove it. All this Kangen water and all that thing they're talking about in Grenada, I did labels and all these things for this thing. I was just set up blockage. So I say, let me rest that for a while. And then I do so now, and I come up, one friend come, she said, Melvaughn, what you really want to do? She sit down with me, and she was there, this thing. And one day I come, she said, Melvaughn, this is a business proposal you have. And she put together the whole thing. And then we went to the Ministry of Education at the time. Before that was sports, because the NDC office was in government at the time. And to see if Vida Bruno was a headache. So one morning I get so upset, I walk straight up to the Prime Minister's office. Mr. Tillman, God bless him and bless him. He didn't see me. Then the secretary was there. She said, still things. She said, I was in the Ministry of Sport and this thing been going on all this time. Why it is this thing still going on? And then she put me to somebody by the name of Mr. Campbell. And I left, and about 6 months, I was in a funeral. It was a Friday evening. I get a phone call, Melvaughn, COUTAIN, did you get a call from Vida, or did this problem fix yet? I said, no. He said, give it 3 more weeks. And if it didn't fix, just call this number. I say, okay, sir. And I wait for about a month. And then I call and I say, up to now, they haven't get back to me. So within 3 days, I was called by sports and was given a letter. Because all I was asking is to get permission to go and work with school children and work within the community. And a letter to go back to my job, to get the time off to come out to do the groundwork. So all the sacrifice, I was losing time and money, my holidays and all these things, traveling in different countries, also meeting different instructors, taking people ideas to make up this document. And then after I do so, I went to education in 2012. Frank Abonini was the Minister of Education. My document went up. The person I met inside there was Mr. Duncan, he's deceased now. And Andrea, I can't remember her title right now, but she was the person over Mr. Duncan at the time as Chief Educational Officer. Okay. From there, the document come back and it had other martial artists who is yellow belt and green belt, who doing karate on my document, who never put together my document, never worked with me in the document. I never had a conversation with them. So this is where it started. So your document tamper with. If I said anything, they will pull back the document and then they'll block me. That is how. So therefore you have a gun in your head, playing Russian roulette. So okay, I have to accept that. So I said, this is the benefit, as I tell Mr. Duncan, this is the benefit to help young persons for Grenada, martial artists and whatever it is, to help and pull everybody together so we can form a national martial art association. And individual wasn't seeing it that way. Individual was seeing it as they getting the merit within the ministry and people getting promotion for doing good deeds within the community. So the persons who are actually doing the work, people who actually see you. And when you talk, they make it look like you're fighting against the government. Okay? Now, I did that. Then Miss Willis moved to Grenada in 2015. And she looked at the document and she said, you need to turn this into an NGO. And this is how in 2015, July, we turned it into an NGO. Okay? And I outlined. Donnie came down from Canada and he was willing to work because he worked with the police in Canada. He have a security escort firm. I went up in Canada and I studied anti-bullying, how to do the martial arts within the school, how to work within the bullying system and all these different things. Went across to Houston, Texas, and they gave me an award, put me in the Martial Art Hall of Fame in Houston, Texas, make me run down the red carpet, and I was treated with royalty. Reach back into Grenada, trying to get these programs and things going, and the different schools and get it going. Every time you go, it's a set of blockage you're going through. So you continue asking for assistance and funding. The ministry say they have no funding to do things like that. They have no money. So I continue working. I continue pushing, taking my own money, taking my time, getting my friends, getting family, getting people abroad to assist. Lo and behold, I heard on the news that Malachi Dottin on the news in Grace Lutheran is talking about this program they're going to launch and with aquaponics and different things. That time, Grace Lutheran is one of the place. In 2012 also, I present my proposal because Grace Lutheran is one of the place I help build. Simple as you're watching me there. That is a foundation I help build. If you go and check the registration of Grace Lutheran in Grenada, you'll see Melvaughn COUTAIN name there. So I not to say I have bad mind for Grenada. I keep on pushing to try to get things going. Grace Lutheran take the idea of mine, put up a document and go to the National Training Agency in Grenada. We're not supposed to be biased. They have a board in there. And I went to them and I see a man by the name of Griffith at the time. I said, Mr. Griffith, I see all the advertising a program, but this is my program. He said, how you mean? I said, look at these documents, read the documents. When he look at it, he called a meeting, Malachi Dottin and a few of them. And this is the thing in this country. People feel now because you're black and you're poor, you're nobody. They look at the document and simply they're telling me, leave it like that and continue to water. How could I continue doing what I'm doing when you're taking somebody with finance and money and I don't have anything? You're taking the little what I have and you're supporting these people. So how are I going to live? So the same time they had Marip. They didn't have Sayep. Marip was coming to an end. So I say, well, they cannot do that. They tell me, okay, come and join them and I will get piece of the pie or whatever it is. I said, watch, this is I did a lot work in this thing. I put in a lot of money in this thing. I even borrow $7,000 from the Grenadian Development Bank. Okay, bringing in flyers and banners and uniform. And you're pushing and looking for help. You get a small grant, you start building greenhouses and all these different things, getting people involved. What you find happen, the government create what they call the Smart Climate Program. Simon Steele in charge of it at the time, and if he's still in charge, because I follow. They never invited me in a meeting. They created the SIRE program. Okay? They had all kind of thing on the carnage, never invited us. So when you're in Parliament and talking all Grenadian, I will always be texting and saying some Grenadians. They create Kate. I had a lunch. Kate was there. She become Minister of Youth Affairs. She never invite us in a meeting. We went away. We come back with 6 medals in kickboxing. We never see Mr. Coxshott, which is the minister who dealing with culture and sports as a minister. He never invited us in nothing. No forum, nothing concerning Grenada. I keep on championing on the Olympic Association to fix this. Even the officials in WTF calling me and talking to me. To date, they cannot fix the issue or the problem what they create. So they blacklist you. Now, we did in 2019. You continue figuring out, okay, what happened? SIAP, the government went in Parliament and accepted SIAP as the official body for this program. The GIDC also. I went to the GIDC and I say, how come all you have all this program, all these meetings going on? I hear the SIAP program at GIDC, and up to now, you say, well, they say Ryan who bring that to them and that right. I said, no, this is my program. I say right inside I here, I did a business course with you guys. You go and check, look my document, go and check your files. When they go and check the files, the guy says sorry. If he didn't know, he wouldn't have go back and I believe him. He didn't know. So Brian Campbell and all of them, all they tell them you interfered in my document, or they try to include you and see how we can negotiate or whatever it is, see how I could get some compensation for what they never did that because the government have 15 seats and the prime minister, his family and friend and everybody, they had the power. I have nobody. So in the Bible, the man all his sheep. And King David still take the man little sheep he have. And he say, Master, God send the prophet. If a man have so many sheep and a man have one sheep, and the king still take the man sheep, what would you do with such a man? He say, he'll kill him. He say, you such a man. I'm a poor man. I left my job in 2017 in order to come out here to work and get this program going, asking the Ministry of Sports for youths, the same person there who they call Gilbert, is the PS. He used to be in the youth center. Several times I've been to him. I've been to Evelyn Pierre. One Bihari, I heard them on the radio and they're talking about this youth empowerment program and this new program they have. And I call in, I say, what all you're talking, that is my document. Okay, they gone silent, but they continue doing it. There's one guy who was on the document we come out from the time under Franca in up in Victoria. He's receiving money for teaching martial art in his school. Nobody called me and say, "Well, boy, watch, let me try and work together and see how we can." They never did that. They just take and do because you use government and you have the power. Now today they read out the budget. I think it's over 20 million going to the youth empowerment program, which is my program, what I created. Nobody offer me a job. I asked several times and I continue asking. Nobody trying to block me from getting funding. All the funding that coming into Grenada, they create this SIAP and then they have no TCM, which is Patrick Antoine and them. All they invite you. They never invite me neither in nothing. So they're getting a chunk of this money. So they suppress what you trying to do, and then you must be happy and don't say nothing. And then all this town hall meeting, they're talking about Grenadians and they want to help Grenada. And this is a loving government and this is a caring government. But how you could starve me? How you starve? You're starving me from living because nobody haven't really dealt with me up to now on how we going forward. You just take away all the over $100,000. I check how much money coming out of my pocket paying passage, money putting in paying people, getting people involved, people from overseas sending and trying, and there is funding coming in Grenada for that. You create programs and you're diverting millions of dollars through the Grenada Development Bank is being advertised for SIAP, and now 20 million going to the youth empowerment program. And nobody, these ministers who I pay tax, when they say 2012 or 2013, Grenadian had to make a sacrifice. And you have to, who working for over $3,000, have to pay 30%, however it is, to go towards that. They take a haircut in and as they take a haircut, all these taxes come back at me and I was paying it. COVID come, I not working anyway. NIS can't even tell me, well, boy, watch, you could get look XYZ up to now. So what the government of Grenada want me to do, and I keep on asking, that's the reason I would like to come on this because you're calling the Prime Minister office. I met with him on Zoom, and he sent somebody to me that months now, and water is destroying my greenhouse, destroying what I'm trying to do. And all I asking is for the plastic, the politics, and right the business sector. And what I discovered these people is doing is telling people, don't assist me. And somebody they've been giving money, Brian Campbell and all these fellas for years. The National Training Agency and all these agencies, you ask for youth. You ask the Ministry of Sports. I go to the Ministry of Sports. I meet the PS. I met with Peter David. Tonight I hear him on the news talking about he visit the man who the thief all the man ginger. What about me who you thief my intellectual property rights?
So, Master COUTAIN, um, so it is very discouraging, very discouraging indeed to actually listen to all these misrepresentations of law and this abuse of authority that you have been going through over the past few years with the Grenadian government, especially knowing that you have made so many sacrifices, even in the face of this type of treason that is caused by the government, to actually empower the people of Grenada. In your selfless nature, as you have exhibited time and time again, we would like you to know that the people of Grenada would always stand by you for all of the marvelous achievements that you have created for the young people. Um, in your remarkable um, achievements in decreasing the number of youth that have been on the streets and so forth, the greenhouses that you have built, many which have been done out of pocket with no assistance from the government of Grenada. Um, we do have Judge Master Kutain has said so many things that are troubling, and we are aware also that there has been one of his programs has been taken by Her Majesty's prison, and it has been given to a gentleman who is doing a program at Good Hope. The credit should we go into Master COUTAIN? Because this idea was actually this program was the brainchild of Master COUTAIN, and I can understand where you're coming from, Mr. Master COUTAIN, because I have done a program at Her Majesty's Prison, free of course, out of my pockets, where I actually went to Her Majesty's Prison around 2016, 2017, thereabout, for approximately a year, brought in a music program and an educational program where I personally taught mathematics and did the teaching of reading, writing, and playing music and musical instruments to the inmates in an effort to better the rehabilitation process, which is terribly flawed at Her Majesty's Prison. I was kicked out of the prison by Mr. Leon Cornwall, in conditions that many persons, even persons who were not convicted of crimes as yet, who remained on the remand block, of how they were treated. The music program that I started at the prison was actually taken and given to someone else. So I am aware of what is happening in Grenada. I'm sure that many other persons are aware of what is happening. Many times we have seen the government parading on the local news stations, especially on GIS, which they have been abusing to promote the all of that doing, but they are saying that they are doing. Mr. You follow closely what is happening in Grenada, which is your home country. Um, can you please comment on this very mortifying situation that faces Master COUTAIN and the people of Grenada?
Well, based on what Master COUTAIN um, said, I think what is going on in Grenada is like uh, what you call, there is like a call, let's say you have something like a cabal or like a clique of people, or you say a political party, where people in position look after people who are the friends and so, because for instance, if you're giving citizens job by merits and by the talent, this is immoral and unethical. In what we should have in Grenada is a democracy, because in a democracy, this is not the way it's supposed to function. We're not living in a one-party state, or we're not living in a what you call a tribal society, or a society with clans and so. We're living in a society where people elect government and there are ministries to serve the communities in social services, in sports, in whatever, in all different activities. And then the ministries have to look for the people with the best talent and the best ideas, and people who present the best proposal should give them the chance to to implement their proposal when the ministry accept them, than plagiarizing their work, because plagiarism is it's immoral and it's criminal. It's no different from thieving somebody's program. It's no different from predial larceny. But we look down on predial larceny as low-class crime, whilst people robbing people at a higher level. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. We're hearing it
Hello?
very clearly.
Yeah, so Master COUTAIN being robbed of his proposal is no different from the farmer who planted the ginger. So you're looking for the common thieves in the rural community who will thief in soursop, ginger, avocado, mayo, cassava, banana. Yes, this is pretty harassing, and it hurts the farmer. But what's about people with creative ideas and professional skills like martial arts, you know? And presently in Grenada, young people are very aggressive. A high percentage of young people in Grenada are very aggressive. So a man as Master COUTAIN with his martial arts skills and program could work with the youths and get out the anger in them and so, you know. And then again, as for you, Mr. All, you said that Leon Cornwall, who works at the prison, cut your program. That make me wonder, because it make me wonder. That's our next that's our next program. You know, again in Grenada, like there is still a chain where people with a link tie to, you know, when you tie a boat with a chain, or you tie an animal with a chain, and then that animal feed around, or the boat stay in that water around. So the old chain of this old revolutionary is still around, you know. Very opportunistic, and it's kind of wondering if we head into democracy.
Mr. George, I would just like to correct one thing that you said. You said that we are not living in a one-party state. I would like to correct that and assure you that we are living in a one-party dictatorship under the new National Party. And there are many flaws that has been brought to the people of Grenada. Despite whatever government it is, we also have to look at the situation where there are persons within the public service sector who should be serving and protecting and ensuring that programs such as what Master COUTAIN has created as the Olive Branch Project, that they would be given a fair chance and fair leadership. When we look at the amount, or let us say the lack of job opportunity for people in Grenada, we can clearly say that what we really need is an opportunity for persons who are qualified for jobs to have the bids, or persons who are qualified for jobs to have the opportunity to act in that capacity, which could actually bring Grenada forward. Now, many of the programs that we continue to see the government promoting on GIS, one of the reasons that they continue to fail, especially programs as which Master COUTAIN would have created, it is because the brainchild, the person who is passionate about getting the program to the standard it should be at, does not have the opportunity, because it has been taken away by persons who unfortunately sit in those prestigious positions, making decisions that are not of any ethical background. It is of no moral compass, and many times we continue to expect from immoral persons better decisions. And I am saying to the people that the only answer at this point in time would be civil disobedience, right? I fully believe that this is what must be done. There is no assistance from any international, regional, or local body. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I think the best format for curbing such behavior is programs like this one, like this program, Grenada Matters Talk Show. Is the best medium to get the message across So, because right now we're on the World Wide Web, you know, global, and we listeners all over the world are knowing what is happening in Grenada, because, as I said, in Grenada we got a blueprint. The blueprint is the Constitution, and it doesn't matter what political parties in power want to do. The blueprint is the blueprint. Grenada is supposed to be a Westminster democracy. It is not a one-party state, and it shouldn't be a one-party state. And whenever people in position try to implement one-party state policies, it is immoral and unethical based on our Constitution, and it's also a violation of citizens' rights. That's all I got to say.
I fully agree. It is a violation of the rights of citizens. When persons are refused job opportunities, it is an action that is not in conformity with the Constitution of Grenada, which should be the blueprint, because it is the supreme law of the land. When we look at the fundamental rights and freedoms that have been stipulated by the Constitution of Grenada, under Chapter 1, Section 1, Part D, I believe there's the right for one to work, no matter your origin, your gender, whatever the case is, one has a right to work. And when we have persons who are not politically affiliated with the government and they are being refused work, although they are qualified, that is a constitutional violation that should be taken up by the DPP's office. It should be taken up by the Attorney General's office, because the Attorney General and the DPP have not been placed in these constitutional positions to protect corrupt individuals within the government. Master COUTAIN has said so many times how many different ministries and ministers and public servants he has been to. Now, what is so wrong about having Master COUTAIN putting Grenada on the map with having martial arts being a part of the Olympics Games that is coming out of Grenada? It is a positive for Grenada. Master COUTAIN?
Where is the ombudsman on that topic?
The ombudsman have been to your office. Okay. All these people is like a quotation mark. And when you're reading a subject, you read a quotation, you pause and you continue reading. This is it. I've been to the Attorney General office. And basically what I hear, two things could happen. I could bring the matter to court, and because from the judge go right back in the court. Is a set of Guyanese and Dominican that control Grenada legal system. So they're going to throw it out. Secondly, they have 15 seats in parliament, so they could go in parliament and they say they're going to change the law, so therefore to block me from doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But what they have done, I'm not asking for the whole country now. I am asking why it is you stopping me. There's funding to do this program. How all of a sudden your cousin in 2018 create a program from 2018 to 2024, and ministers and all these people, when I've been asking them, these people are laughing to me when I come in and telling them, this is what I want to do, this is how it could happen, and these people are laughing at me, and they just take up when you watch these people document, you feel it's either talking to them. I have a team of professional people work with me to put it together. They take it now, and you put it together like yours, and now you hear the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance is praising these teeth for them. And you hear the Minister of Agriculture talking about man teeth in ginger. What about my work, what I did, and the team what I have? You steal my ideas, and I asking you, please, could you assist me to get funding to it? And you fail to do it. You fail to acknowledge we existed. Up to last night, there was not a town hall meeting in either River Road or one of them places, the town of St. George. And I listening all these fellas I'm talking, and I want to know if I did in a different world. Because I've been to these men and them office. I've been to the Ministry of Sport. I said I would like to get some young person to work with some of the programs of that. They said they don't have youths. The same Ministry of Sports, they say they don't have youths. The person in charge of youth, all Maitland was there. I bring him to me. Anytime I visit these people, I just go with somebody so they can't say I lie. Now I could call in the name Big and Bold. They say they don't have youths. They asked me to put together a proposal. What I put to the up to nobody in answer. The same Emily Pierre in education. She says she's a religious woman. I've been to this woman and I said, look what's going on. This is illegal. What is taking place? She cannot respond up to now. You understand? No. When you look at this whole thing and you watch and you listen to news, what happened in the country, young people. Programs are just put in place. Just people jump and take the program, they access the funding. And the program finish, and nothing happened with the youths. Nothing. And a few of the young ladies, they get pregnant with some of these same people. That is what. But
listen, Melvaughn, don't even talk about Emily Pierre. I had a program for the cricket doctor, and I took that program and I took it into Emily Pierre. Emily Pierre took the program. I've still got the program on my hard drive. I've still got the program on my as a program I did put out, and I filmed in Grenada. The difference between me and you is that my stuff was copyrighted, so all they could do is look at it. She wanted me to come in and show my credentials. I was the most qualified person, no disrespect, the most qualified cricket coach on the island. Even the head of the Grenada team, I was a qualified coach. Qualified coach. The man that was running the team wasn't even qualified. That's a fact, right? So I understand totally where you're coming from, Melvaughn. Totally. And all I wanted to do was help in the community. All I wanted to do was help the young people. As a young man growing up, wanted to go to the Caribbean and give something back. To give something back. I'd given everything else to everybody else, but to go to the Caribbean, to go home, to go and be where my mother or my grandmother had been, that talked about so much, to do something in the Caribbean.
Ingram was here.
What happened?
In 2012, he was here. Me and he was walking the road till a day sweating. The heat, climbing all the hill. We stop, we drink a beer, we talk. Okay? And he showed me certain tips because Ingram is a certified boxing coach. So you had persons who come into assist when you're listening in news and people talking about you, the money program and this program and all this program is just to access money and nothing is happening. And all these programs, the person who created the money program, I met them also. The person haven't really benefit of what the work what they produce. You just take it and you just go with it and do whatever you want, because why? Use the government, you had the SSU behind you, you had the police behind you, you had the judge, they set up to put in the court system, you have your lawyers, you have a set of these persons who says Attorney General and DPP. All these people is just quotation mark.
Melvaughn, I will also add this to you. While I was on the island of Grenada, I wanted to do work on the island. You know what they did? They made me run around, go to this person, go to that person, go to this person, go to that person. I ended up going back. And I'm thankful to, I think it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to get my CARICOM passport. So I was able to work across the Caribbean. Right? But they made me, almost 6 months it took me to get that done. Running up and back and forth to the ministry. Back and forth, in the Prime Minister's, out the Prime Minister's office.
All they have to do was to give you an application form, because there's a form for that.
Exactly.
That's all they had to do.
They kept stump. There was one lady in the ministry. No, actually 2 people that helped me in the ministry. Right? So I've got to give some credit to them. But I had to do running back and forth all the time. Now, when I wanted to even get my travel expenses covered, that's like getting to town and coming up to go to Gove and come back to my place in St. Paul's. I didn't ask to get paid. I just wanted travel expenses to get back and forth. They couldn't even do that because there wasn't enough money in the ministry for that. That will tell you that they don't value what you bring to the table. All they value is keeping their friends happy. They're all their friends happy to keep the corruption going. I don't want to hear anything about Emily Pierre. She's a fraud. An absolute fraud. I'll tell her to her face. She's a fraud. I don't want to hear anything about her. And there's a few others of them as well. Absolute frauds. Do you understand? So I understand your frustration. But I pushed past them and I did what had to be done. And what you've got to do is push past these people. Don't give them the credit that they don't deserve. Ignore them and go about your business. And make sure when you go about their business, there's no way they can get credit. Copyright all you do, which I copyrighted my stuff, so they couldn't dare do that stuff to me. Get your stuff copyrighted and ensure you get the people around you trust. And if it takes you 3 years to get there, it takes you 3 years to get there. But it makes sure it's the people you got around you can trust. And if it's only 3 people, make it be 3 people.
Yes,
you understand?
But Ingram.
Yes.
Regardless of copyright or what, these people do whatever they want. Look, Earl is there.
That's my...
The ending up of the day, the same GIDC who's teaching people about intellectual property right is the same set of people who I went and produced my business plan.
But you know what? Wait. You know what the devil looks like. What's the problem?
At the time, I didn't know.
Let me ask you a better question. I know you're sitting here moaning about it, but let me ask you a better question. What would you rather? Them up front come and teeth your stuff, or you be in a program where you should be getting money, running a program, and find you that everyone else is getting paid and you ain't getting paid? What would you prefer? It's better you know what's going on there and you know what they're about, and you know what? I can't trust you, I ain't working with you, and I got nothing's coming your way. I'm gonna do things my way. You will get help, you will get support, but maybe the lesson you had to learn is that you can't trust them. Maybe the lesson you had to learn is that you don't need them. Maybe the lesson you need to learn is that, you know what? We're gonna come together without them. And you rally together the people around you and you show people it can be done without any governmental influence. That's what maybe you need to learn. Because all you're going to do is give yourself high blood pressure and fall down a heart attack talking about these people. You can talk about it till the cows come home. They ain't listening. They're sitting there laughing. Now go do something and say we can do it without them. The way you make a new world and you make an old world defunct is by creating a new world by doing things differently. That's how you make change. Making these people irrelevant is by doing the things without them. They are only in power because we allow them to be in power. They are only important because we give them importance. Take that importance away from them and do what you need to do. Forget them. You don't need them. Because half of them ain't educated enough to do it. That's the whole reason why they're stealing from you, because they can't do it, because they ain't too blasted lazy and too they're illiterates. That's the reason why they're stealing from you. Understand. They're scared. They're worried. That is why they're thieving from you. And they run behind the corrupt little cabal that they have because they know they can't be touched that way. But they ain't educated enough to deal with it. That's what's really going on. That's what really needs to happen. So you need to get onto the front foot with this and stop being so defensive and say, yeah, okay, you got me there. You got me good there. But that shows you potentially the greatness within you. Because they're taking your stuff, but it came from a great man it came from. So if that greatness can come from you then, it can certainly come from you now. So take what's happened and say, all right, I took some licks there, but the lesson from it is, you fooled me once, you're not going to fool me again. You got me good there. And you see what? When I go and do what I got to do this time, I'm going to pull in my international influences. And don't worry, people are listening to what's going on here. So when you go out and you do your work, people will come and people will see. But you now have to focus on, okay, if you focus on this anger, you keep this anger and this upset within you, you're going to get sick, right? You need to be creative. You need to let that go and be creative and say, okay, this is where I was. What can I do now? A young person don't want to hear that. A young person is still a young person. They shouldn't have to suffer because of what they're doing at the ministry. You understand, MAITLAND?
Yeah, I understand clearly.
So you have to forget. I understand the pain you're going through. But at the same time, say, all right.
But still, you need to try to put a stop on it. People need to know what is going on.
No. You're still trying to run things in their world. You're still trying to work in an old world system. You need to create a new world, and the way you create a new world is by pulling away from this nonsense and following this belief system, this mind control that they are the ones that you need to be going to. You need to go to them. You need to forget about them and run your business and do your own thing. That's it.
Hudson George, could we hear you?
Well, what I know in Canada, if you have organizations and so, or you have a proposal, for instance, people who deal with culture and art, they present a proposal and they take it to the ministry responsible for those activities, and they will look at your proposal, and then they fund you. You get funding. They don't care if you are you belongs to the Liberal Party or you belongs to the New Democratic Party or you belongs to the Canadian Conservative Party, which we call the Tory Party. They don't care. The ministry doesn't care about that. All they know, you present a proposal and you get funding. Even also, they give art, like if you're an author and you want to write a book, you get funding for that. There, in North America, you have so many martial arts schools for kids. And some of the people who hold those martial arts school, like Master COUTAIN and them, they get funding from the government. Government doesn't care about it. if you what are your political affiliations? You see, the root of Grenada problem is that we get rid of local government, and everything is in the hands of parliamentarians, like people in the lower house of parliament. They control everything, and that's where the problem is. Now, if we had local government, the government will keep on line with budget for certain activities, especially in the towns and in schools and so. But all we have is a central government. And the central government is like, as all said, it functions like a one-party state, and that's a version of dictatorship. Although I said that the blueprint for Grenada is Westminster democracy.
Okay, I want to add another point here, and I want a point of positivity. Patrick Delves, you all know who Patrick Delves is. In 2013, some of you may not know this story. In 2013, I took Patrick Delves outside to the garden. I said, "Come with me." He said, "What?" I said, "Just finished interviewing for the first time I'd met him." I said, "Patrick, come here." I said, "Take the camera. I want to film what you're doing." Because he was telling me he was being ignored by the people in Grenada. He was being ignored by the government. I said, "Listen, film your stuff. Put your stuff on YouTube, right? And do that, right?" And by him doing that, he is now working across the Caribbean, in Canada, and America. He don't worry about what the Grenadian government's got to say or do. He's out doing his business across almost across the globe, doing his work, being valued. You understand? And he comes and still does his stuff in Grenada. So my word of encouragement to you, Melvaughn, is to get your stuff together and get ready and get to travel. And you may have to go abroad for people to see what you're doing. And abroad can be not just physically, but literally using Zoom and things like StreamYard so people see what you can do, see what you're about, so people can understand you. People of a higher vibrational level, people that want to do business, people that actually want to see you succeed, and they want to succeed too. There's a danger that if you stick in this mentality that's in Grenada, you'll lose yourself, and you'll lose your mind, and you'll lose your confidence, and you'll lose your self-esteem, and you'll always have this bitterness within your resentfulness. You need to move on. And the way you move on is by surrounding yourself with people who vibrate higher. Surround yourself with professionals. Surround yourself with people who are not only intellectually great, but surround yourself with people they'll want to see you great too. You understand, Melvaughn?
Yeah. I working along that line. That's why we're gonna start a program. I'm gonna do a martial art program on Grenada matter, on health.
Another problem with Grenadians I find too. They like what you're doing, but they think what you're doing, it shouldn't be you. It should be somebody else.
Should be a white man.
And it's a colonial mentality.
It's a slave mentality.
Yeah. Slave mentality.
Slave and crab in the barrel syndrome.
Yeah. Oh, what he's doing is good, but who is him? You know, you expect, and then, you know, I remember one. Now, even in Toronto, I used to do what you call every independence. We used to do literary night where you do poetry, storytelling, and so. And then there was this young girl who became a leader of some youths, you know. And that year, that program was going on so good. And that young girl came to do a play written by her. The play was not put into skit, where you say you had different people acting as characters. She came and read a play that she wrote. She read a play that she wrote, and there are no physical characters. Now, this show, the young girl went to university, and perhaps she get maybe A+ and B+, and she get drunk on academia that she wrote a play without, there were no characters to portray, there were no person physically to portray the play. Just to kill creative people in Toronto who could come and do something creative, like a poet, a storyteller,
right,
a dancer. All she do, I got academics, so I'm going to steal the show. And again, as we close in, it goes back to the history of the Grenada Revolution. A group of people in a village in St. David's called Vincent's started a movement called the Jewel Movement. And it spread to the rural part of Grenada, and it became attractive to urban intellectuals, and they joined it and they stole it. They become friends with the Jewel boys, and they say, okay, let us make a movement we call NJM, New Jewel Movement. So the new, that means we bring new ideas to your movement. And then with that, you start cutting on the Jewel boys, and then after much cutting, you could sit down with Commando Fidel Castro, and you dump your boys, and that culture still remain in Grenada, where academias, people in academics mightn't be creative, and that's what they must understand. They mightn't be visionaries.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
And they can't understand visionaries.
They does not understand that.
Correct.
And everything they want to do is intellectualize everything. If you intellectualize everything, then you destroy the creative mind. Because a creative person is like a god.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a god. God creates the heavens and the earth, yes, and all what is in it. So when you're creative, God give you a talent, you know. So a creative person got a different mindset. They're not like guys who beat books. And then there is guys again. You could be an academia. You're good in the class,
mm-hmm,
in academic class. You could get passing exams and so. But there are different ways people write. If you look at the world, mm-hmm, the people who chase the world is not academians. It's creative people.
Right, absolutely.
Computers, robots, motor cars, dancing. Look how the Africans are changing the musical world with all different moves. That's creativity. Use Mr. Killer is a good example that show you that created how far Grenadian creativity could go.
Absolutely.
Look at his video, Oil It, the first Grenadian ever danced like this.
Right.
Well, anyway, yeah, we're closing now. Yeah, we're closing.
I want to make a final point, and it's a point that I want these videos. Sometimes there are people out there watching who might not have a big voice, who might have experienced exactly what Mr. COUTAIN has experienced, and that's the reason why we do these shows. Not only just to air our own opinions, but to empower other people out there who may have encountered similar situations, who might not be brave enough to get up and stand up and come forward. Then if you know somebody who's similar to yourself, who's been through it, maybe you need to get with people who have a similar mindset, who have been through similar situations, and join together and unite. So you see someone like Mr. Melvaughn COUTAIN or Mr. Earl Maitland, and you see them, you know where they are, you join them on Facebook, talk to them, unite with them, work together, okay? Because together, united, it's because we're disorganized. These people at the top, or supposedly at the top, have such control. But if we get organized, we come together as a people, not as NNP or NDC, but as a human being that has feelings and emotions. And if we come together and unite, we can do a great thing on the island of Grenada. Final words, everybody. First, Mr. Melvaughn COUTAIN. Can I have a word from you very quickly?
Well, I really appreciate you guys tonight calling, because I hear the budget today. When I hear the budget readout, I say, watch, I really had to come tonight and talk after hearing the Minister of Agriculture talking about theft. Okay? I would like to know how we look at thieving. Okay, it's not a big thief and little thief according to the Bible. So Hudson, Ingram, let me continue doing the good work. I working on, not working, my class is picking up. Have some students, they're getting stronger every day, so that team is building, and we'll be starting some show. We'll do some shows on the beach, live show. Let's do some shows.
Let's do that. Let's do that, and let's
get it out there
live on BWTM, and let's get our sponsors out, and let's get those people helping you out. Mr. George, any final words for yourself?
Well, I think what we should do is to encourage other people like Mr. Melvaughn COUTAIN to come forward. There's a platform for them to come and say what kind of experience they have in Grenada. This is the only way we could stop the dictatorship, by people coming forward, and when it goes global, then people will know what's going on in Grenada. So if you are other Grenadians who feel vindictive or being robbed of opportunities, and they have something to say, there is a platform at Grenada Matters talk show for them, so they could come forward. Contact Ingram or contact any of us. We could put you on into Ingram, and you could give your story.
We'll do your own show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll do your own show. Ingram going to a different. We do your own show, because that is our platform now.
Absolutely.
And maybe we should do that at least once a week. Programs like this, talking about what we don't see right in Grenada, so we could correct it. And we should advertise it before we do it. Kind of say, okay, we have in that program, so people could join, could take time to listen. Right.
Thank you. Let's get Mr. Earl to close us out.
All right. So once again, we have had the unfortunate opportunity of listening to a next Grenadian national, a patriot of Grenada, who continues to struggle under the corruption of the government. We have had some very strong points across the table. ways of remedying the situation, one which would have been looking past the corruption and surrounding one's self with positive, creative, and already empowered persons. I am of the opinion that although that should be done, this corruption has to be put to an end. There is only so far one can travel, or one can gain type of achievement once they are being blocked by the government. Many of the organizations that are donors to projects such as the Olive Branch Project, which Master COUTAIN has created. Many of these donors would have to be signed off by the government of Grenada. So it makes it very difficult um, for one to actually achieve without a proper functioning democratic system. So I would like to use this opportunity to call on the persons in the public service and call on the persons authoritative bodies who sit in our parliament buildings and pass laws to please act in the interest of public morality. Please act without favoring political bias, right? The inconveniences are real, the stress levels are real, the frustration is real. There are many persons who do not have the opportunity to have a proper functioning life because of this corrupt activity that continue to happen in Grenada. Many persons turn to crime. Many persons turn to housebreaking. Many persons turn to different types of crime because the opportunity is not there. When one's back is against the wall, anything is possible. And the role of our government is not to function based on political affiliation. The role of the government is to ensure that all our citizens, despite religious belief, despite political affiliation, that all of our citizens will be treated fairly and equally. They would all have the same opportunity. So I would like to call on persons in the public service to start acting differently, to start allowing ethics to prevail. Um, Please look out for the Olive Branch Project. Very soon, Master COUTAIN would be having sessions, right? He would be having sessions in Grenada. Persons would be invited, the public would be invited. He would make a presentation, and other persons on the Olive Branch team, they would make a presentation of what the Olive Branch is and of all the positives that can be taken away and placed into the already failing society that we have here in Grenada. It will be interesting, and we will ask persons to come out, support the projects that he is doing. The aquaponics project, we have seen how important agriculture is. Unfortunately, we do not have a visionary such as Master COUTAIN, who has taken upon himself together with Miss Erica Willis from the Olive Branch Project, who would have implemented the well deserved and well needed, very necessary aquaponics project. We have seen how important agriculture is during the COVID pandemic. We are saying, look out for us. We will be there. A pleasant good night to everyone who has tuned into the program. We will be back. Take care. A blessed night to Master COUTAIN, Mr. Hudson George, and Ingram Jones. Take care until next time.
All right. Good night.